Yo, hello. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the travel agency. Welcome to our first episode of Art Brunch. I am your host, Rick, and we got a fun show planned out for you all today. Um, it's pretty cool. So, what we want to do with this show is um, provide like a casual setting for talking about art and showing art, having guests, drinking Bloody Marys, chilling, relaxing, hanging out. This is our first time streaming in talk shows and podcasts, so we're gonna try that out and see how it goes. If you're new to the stream, welcome. I just wanted to start by talking about the reason why we're doing content like this, and what I notice in a lot of art media is a lot of art media is very, very official and educated and informed, and it has this like very highbrow nature to it. And that's not to say that we're interested in doing lowbrow stuff, but really interested in like curating contemporary art in a casual setting to make it feel comfortable for people who otherwise don't feel comfortable. I think a lot of people feel comfortable with the history of art up into maybe 1980, kind of ending with Andy Warhol. And what I notice happens a lot is people get to a certain point in their life where they might go to the modern wing of the St. Louis Art Museum or your public art institution, but pretty much every major city also has contemporary art museums. And I know the first time that I went to a contemporary art museum, I felt out of place and wasn't sure how to act. So we're thinking about just kind of exploring that from a digital content perspective. To introduce myself, my name's Rick. I'm your host. I'm helping create this multifaceted art experience. This is just one show that we produce as a travel agency. I'm a contemporary artist. I work with a lot of different mixed media materials. A lot of the artwork that I create when I was growing up and getting into it, I thought it needed to be inaccessible to people. That there's a certain type of art making that indicates knowledge or indicates education, and the way that you do that is by making these like obscure and obfuscated art pieces that are really hard to read. And I realized that that's not actually what's helpful. I think what's helpful is creating contemporary works of art that can be viewed by anybody, any level in the population, any class, any race. I think that's what contemporary art can be at its best. So, joining me today is Tiffany Green. She is a co-founder of the travel agency. She is a bit of an artist herself from time to time. I have a really great painting of hers downstairs. She's going to be our first guest, and we're just going to talk about different stuff. The first part of the segment, you can hear her pouring coffee now. That's the good sound. Mm-hmm. The first part of our segment is just going to be chatting, introducing one another. After that, we're going to take a short break and start. You want to put your headphone on? We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We're going to make some Bloody Marys. We're going to rate this Bloody Mary mix that we have. Thought it would be a fun thing to do for our Art Brunch stream. And then following that, we're going to talk about some contemporary performance art. I have a little bit of a video presentation for you. We'll go through those things and talk about our experiences and our thoughts and tie that into the travel agency experience. And then afterwards, we're just going to kind of hang out. At various points throughout the show, I'm going to share with you our phone number. You can give us a call and leave us a voicemail. We might go through some of your voicemails at the end, as long as you keep them appropriate. So yeah, let's move over here. Let's introduce Tiffany. Tiffany, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you today so far?
So far, so good. I just brewed a second pot of coffee, so
yes.
yeah, cheers to that. Yeah, it's been a good morning so far, setting up everything. Excited to talk about the travel agency and what it is and what we want to do with it. Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing well. One of the things, our morning was really about kind of getting this, all of the technology set up in a way that was going to be perfect and helpful. This is our first time doing a 2-person live stream, so it was just hooking up the audio interfaces, getting the camera set up. The table that we're working at is in our living room, and it is completely covered in technology. I was saying earlier, I feel like I'm in some sort of like technological womb. But that's where I'm really most comfortable. So that's good. But I'm feeling good. I'm happy that it's working, and
It is working. It's good.
yeah. And so far, it seems like it's sounding good. So yeah. Tell us about your experience as an artist, or your experience with art, with particularly contemporary art.
Yeah. So my own practice of making art has, I don't know, it's kind of flowed in different ways throughout my life. I didn't necessarily pursue art as prominently whenever I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into a nice, like, portraiture, charcoal vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it wasn't really until I moved to St. Louis that I started to go to art museums, started to like see the different wings of different art museums and go to the Contemporary Art Museum. But I didn't always feel super comfortable in those spaces.
Mm-hmm.
There was always like this, I felt like I kind of needed like guidance or like someone to talk to me about like who was doing what and how it was connected to other people, and what they were doing. And the more that I learned about those things, the more I realized how interconnected it is and how approachable it is. But like, you just don't see that in just going to an art museum and like being able to see the work. You don't see all of the backstories. So yeah, it wasn't until I started hanging around with you and you were able to tell me about all of those backstories and who's connected to who and how it all fits together that I became more interested in art.
Yeah. So you mentioned in the beginning of that story that when you were a child, you didn't draw a lot?
No, I drew a lot. I just never really thought that I was very good at it.
Uh-huh.
My older brother was definitely more of a realistic artist than I was, so I didn't pursue it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you said it's at a certain point it changed for you and you started to be more interested in portraiture.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, charcoal.
What created that change in your life?
I don't really know.
It just happened?
It just happened.
One day you sat down and...
I think I just saw some pieces that I really liked, that I felt connected to, and I thought, oh, I can probably like approach it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd always, I don't know, it's interesting like seeing art as art for art's sake,
Mm-hmm.
and then seeing art as, I think up until that point, I'd always kind of seen it as something to put up in your house, or like something that, you know, fits like the decor of, you know, the space and the vibe that you're trying to create.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So did you
like art as decor versus art as art.
So did you start drawing more for yourself when you noticed that it could be more than decor, or did you just see some decor that was like, ooh, I like that decor, and that's something that I can make?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was probably more that, and then as I continued creating, I was like, oh, this doesn't have to be something that's seen, something that's hung or sold. It can just be what it is.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
Yeah. I like knowing people's journeys through their own art making practice, because I think everyone at one point or another has drawn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not something that is like exclusive.
Yeah.
I think children are born with this drive to create and to draw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know any child that doesn't like to make visual art in one way or another.
Yeah. But then, like...
If you're going to move back and forth, you can just move that mic with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think that piece of it, like, everyone is an artist, but then, like, throughout, like, art training or, like, going to school and seeing, you know, other people create work, you don't necessarily view yourself as an artist. You view other people as artists.
And that happens early.
So early.
Yeah.
Like...
That happens in, like, 3rd grade.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, like, you don't pursue it from there.
I have this memory, this interesting memory of me just being a little kid in kindergarten, and we would all like draw things. Ooh, I really think it was like kindergarten. This is one of my earliest memories, and
Wow.
I think this has to do with like some of the negative feelings I have about being an artist. So this is funny, but I guess for some reason, when we would make paintings, all of the paintings, we would just like leave them wherever we made them. So like we would paint like a tree with apples on it, and our teacher would be leading us through this painting. You're going to paint a tree with apples on it, and then all the kids did that all at once. And then from there, I think we like moved because the paint was still wet, and like we just like left them on our tables and probably like sat down in a circle.
Was your elementary art school or art classes, it was like at a particular class and you like would go from your like primary teacher to the art class like you would the library or
Not
music
in kindergarten.
class? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, in
Okay.
kindergarten, I think we did all that stuff in the room. Like they
so-
kept the kids.
Yeah.
But in like 1st grade, that's when we started going to the art teacher.
Okay.
But this one in particular, I think we like would make the painting, and then for some reason we would move away from it, and then they would dry.
Yeah.
And then we would like leave.
Yeah.
And the teacher would collect them, and then there'd be another point in time, maybe the next day, where we
was
would all sit in a
dried.
circle, and she would like show the pieces of work and ask whose it is.
Oh.
So like we didn't like put our names on it or anything, and the teacher for some reason had no idea who did what. So then
Was she just trying to like, here's yours, you can take it, or
yeah,
oh, okay.
she was trying to give them back.
Yeah.
but it was like this weird exhibition where we would all be sitting around in a circle around the teacher, and she would be flipping through these different paintings, holding them up for the whole class, and asking like, whose is it?
So how did you feel? Like, did you feel like excited and proud, or did you feel like nervous and kind of ashamed?
Well, all of those things, right? And then there's this added element is that like certain kids wouldn't say that a particular piece is theirs. And there's only like 10 of us. I mean, there's probably like 10 or 15 of us in this kindergarten class. So she would like occasionally hold one up, and she would say, "Whose is this?" and like no one would say it's theirs.
No.
But like it is somebody's.
Do you think they just didn't know, or they were not happy with their piece, or what do you think?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, I was a self-centered 6-year-old,
Okay.
so I was worried about my
Yeah.
own internal state. But then what that left up was this opportunity that, like, if somebody didn't claim a painting, that, like, someone else could claim that painting for themselves. And I had an experience where if there were paintings that I really liked that no one was claiming, I would just lie and say it was mine.
So at the end of exhibition, Rick has 4 paintings and
Yeah.
3 other people don't have a
Yeah.
painting. And teacher's like, what?
Yeah. So I remember that vividly, is that like I would hope that people wouldn't claim certain ones that I liked, and then I would just like raise my hand and say that was mine. And then I would like basically plagiarize and steal this painting from some child in the class who literally knew it was theirs.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
no one ever said anything to me about it.
What did you do with all of them?
I don't have any clue. The segment of the memory is just
Sitting in the circle.
Yeah, and like stealing other people's paintings.
Interesting.
So
this happened on multiple occasions.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
not just the tree and the apples.
Yeah, there was I remember vividly this cardboard, not cardboard, this like collage paper, or what's that called? Like
construction
paper.
Yeah.
There's like this construction paper collage that looked like a helicopter.
Oh, cool.
But it wasn't a helicopter. I mean, it was just like a piece of shit. It was some like constructivist.
No, it was art.
It was some constructivist, like Russian constructivist collage. And I really liked it, and I stole that one from someone.
Okay.
But it looked like ugly. But there are all of these different things that came up for me as a child there, of like claiming your own work in front of the class, and then seeing everybody else's work presented in this way, and people like claiming it, and then you are associating these children with their quality of work. And then not to mention the added element of me just stealing other people's paintings for no reason.
That is funny.
But yeah, so I was saying all of that to say, people, you start classifying each other as far as your artistic ability
Early.
even that early.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember the art teacher for the high school that I went to. I grew up with the art teacher's son, and obviously, like, he had cultivated so much, artistic ability. He'd been trained. He enjoyed art because his dad enjoyed art. So I remember him being a very good artist. And, like, so the way that my school worked, honestly, I don't remember anything about kindergarten, so it's interesting that you have, like, such vivid memories, but...
One.
Yeah. One vivid memory, but I don't have any. I don't remember, like... I don't know. So anyway, in elementary school, though, we had, like... the specials class where, like, you would go to either, like, the music room or the library or the art room, PE, and it would be, like, on a different day of the week, and one of them was art. So I had art within those time frames as an elementary school kid. But then, like, I think I only took one art class in junior high. And then I didn't take any art classes in high school.
Really?
Not a single one.
Why?
Because I was in band.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, like, your electives were limited. And I played the clarinet, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was similar at my high school. I think that I always took art classes in high school. So
Not surprised.
yeah, but I'm not sure how that even started. In some ways the art class was like the easy class, and I was a slacker.
Okay.
I was a big time slacker. Starting in about 8th grade is when I really had a falling out with school.
Is there like a particular thing that made it that way, or?
I started skateboarding
Oh,
and hanging out with kids
right.
who were,
Okay.
you know, drinking and
Yeah.
smoking weed and shit, and
Yeah.
school wasn't cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like I remember like 7th and 8th grade, the art class was really easy, and the teacher was amazing. She unfortunately passed away, Mrs. Harrington, I think. But she was super cool, and a bunch of my friends were taking it, and we would just go in there and do that, and kind of like just like fuck around for the whole time, like
Yeah.
make stuff.
Yeah.
And she was really good about like letting us make things that we were interested in, instead of just having it be so rigid.
Yeah.
So like me and my friends made this like paper skateboard, like, you know, like the little
Yeah.
tech decks. But we made this paper skateboard out of like multiple layers of paper and glue, and then we like shaped it
Nice.
and turned it into like a
Sculpture.
legit, like, it had like a tail and a nose, and it was like had a concave base.
Nice.
And then we would just like use that to flip around. Like we would like play with it with
Yeah.
our hands.
Yeah.
But it was something that we made together that we really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I think that there were assignments, but you could kind of get away with a lot. And I think that's where
Yeah.
my initial love for it was. Is it was more fun, and you could kind of chill and,
Yeah.
and get away with it. And then in high school, I was interested in taking some of the upper level art courses, and you had to like start with this like foundations course, and it was a really good course. The guy was wild. My art teacher, he had a glass eye. I forget it.
What?
Yeah. And the first day, he showed us the proportions of a face on a whiteboard, and he was just like doing eyes and a nose and a mouth and hair and a neck, and was just showing us all the proportions. And by the end of it, it was just like a self-portrait of him.
What?
Yeah, and you just couldn't tell that that's where it was going until it went there. So he was just like stunting on
Yeah.
everybody. You know,
That's
just,
awesome.
and that really encouraged me. And then further into high school, I took them partially because they were easy slacker classes, but
Yeah.
I also had it ended up not being, because like my favorite teacher, Miss Ponder, she like had a similar sensibility as far as me that I had at the time about like what kind of art I was into, and she showed me a lot of stuff, and then eventually it just turned into like me having as much space to create whatever I wanted
Yeah.
as I could, and I made some really great paintings in that class, and it just kind of moved on from there. So it's really strange for me to think that you didn't have a single art class in high
No,
school, because
yeah.
I had like one or two
Formative. Yeah.
each semester.
Yeah.
We did a lot of stuff with that.
Yeah.
But that produces this gap, right? So
Yeah.
then it produces this gap, and entering into art school for me, there was an even further gap, because like I went to public school and I learned a lot of stuff, but the majority of the kids that ended up going to the private art school that I went to like performing arts high schools.
Oh, interesting.
So they would, or private like high schools
I didn't know that.
that were performance or art, or not performance art,
Mm-hmm.
but like performing arts schools. So then there's this like even bigger gap.
Yeah.
Is that I come into this situation having to like fight for my arts education.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, it's so interesting, like, you talking about your art teacher in high school showing you artists. Like, never.
yeah.
Until, like, I started going to art museums and started hanging around with you, that I was like, oh, like, I'm piecing together, like, how things are fitting. Huge. Just, like, the history of it all.
Yeah, and the history is a big part of it. And that gap gets bigger and bigger. And that's something that, I think that having these types of conversations can help lessen. because like you said over and over, it took me, right? But in general, it takes another person often to like lead someone into the next steps of understanding art, especially contemporary art. So if you didn't have an instructor to do that, a teacher to do that, like you were saying, then it just kind of goes away. But if you have a friend who's interested in it, if you have a friend who is a creative, that inquisitive nature of just being in a friendship can help that. Or like me, when we met, I was very passionate about art. So pretty much anybody who's friends with me has to endure that to one degree or another.
The conversations, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a...
But it's not enduring.
Yeah. I mean, there's no friend that I have that we don't talk about that.
Yeah. True. Very true.
So that's kind of part of the value that I think of the travel agency and this talk show, is that we can be these members of the community that provide opportunity for people who are interested in art, who may, not have taken a single art class. I was going to say past high school, but now I guess I should say past middle school.
Yeah.
and they're interested. They see these things. They know it's important, that it has value, because it does have cultural value. And most people know that, have a sense of it, but that doesn't mean that they're accessing it. Doesn't mean that they have the tools to engage with it.
But like truly just having the conversation about it is like so important.
Yeah.
Because I think that one thing that you did really well whenever we met and started talking about art is like, I kind of felt strange about not knowing anything about art. I felt like, man, like I feel like there's this whole opportunity of this whole world that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
And like, how do I even talk about it? I don't even know who you're talking about or what they've done. But like, I never felt shy about having those conversations with you. Like, never felt any kind of like, I don't know, condescension or like, I can't believe you don't know this kind of a thing. Which is not the case with everyone.
No, it's hard. I mean, we've all had the experience of like riding in a car with somebody and they play a song that they really like, and you've never heard that song before in your life. And then you're kind of like interested and you want to know more about it.
And then they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you don't know this. Yeah.
Or and you get so beaten by people like that you don't even like ask. You just act like you know what this is.
Yeah.
Like you know what's going
You're
on.
like, I'm singing along. I know.
Like, this track? I'm like, yeah. Listen to this show all the time.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem.
But like, when we have conversations about art, and when the travel agency will continue to have conversations about art, like, we never want it to be anything but open. You know?
Yeah, questions
like that is the thing.
Are definitely welcome. Questions are necessary.
Yeah.
Some of the difficulty is just like, how do you teach someone to ride a bike if you know how to ride a bike? Like, I know so much, and I still don't know. I mean, I have so many friends that know so much more about art than I do, but like, my foundational knowledge is really good, to the point where sometimes I just have a hard time even understanding like what is foundational knowledge. So that's where a lot of energy goes into figuring out how, like, where do we even begin? Like, where do we even start the conversation at?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is where we start the conversation.
Yeah. So that's what this show is.
Yeah. Thanks to
Sunday
everybody
brunch,
tuning in.
talking about art.
Thanks for everyone who's tuning in. Feel free to follow us. It's really helpful. We're looking to make affiliate here soon. We're going to be hosting a bunch of different artists on the channel over time. I do my own creative art making practice on what is now Friday nights from 10 to 1 a.m. Central Time. You can leave us a voicemail at 1-801-TRAVEL-6. We'll listen to some voicemails later in the show. It should be fun. But yeah, you can follow us on Instagram at thetravelagency.live. You can bookmark thetravelagency.live, and that'll always take you to our Twitch stream. And if you do follow, definitely please turn on those notifications so you can know when we're live. A lot of this art stuff that's taking place on here is site-specific art installation, performance art. It's stuff that happens in the moment that most people aren't, that isn't really publicly accessible. A lot of, well, I mean, especially right now, there's no gallery that you can go to where somebody's going to be performing one of their performance pieces. And then it also, more importantly, sheds light and opens up the ability to see into the artist's studio, which is really hard to come by. So that's what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be showing. I'm almost ready for a Bloody Mary.
The time?
I think it's time.
Cool.
All right, we'll be right back, y'all. We're going to get some Bloody Mary stuff, and this is a fun little segment that we have here.
We're drinking Bloody Marys.
Drinking Bloody Marys.
Hell yeah.
We have this is the Bloody Mary gauntlet.
Okay.
And eventually I'll have
it's the beginning.
I'll have a whole intro video of the Bloody Mary gauntlet and two bottles bumping into each other.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Like a little animated video.
Yes.
So we're starting with this Trace Agave's Bloody Mary mix. It's organic. It has real tomato, real spices, and it's real easy.
So we're gonna have a Bloody Mary every brunch, art brunch. Did you already say that?
No.
Oh. Okay, we're having a Bloody Mary every art brunch. That's what's happening. So this is the beginning.
Yes.
The gauntlet.
The gauntlet. Welcome to the stream, Mr. President. Good to see you here. Those are cool planes. I'm glad you like the planes. Okay, so off screen, we prepared our own bits.
Hurrah!
So let's have a
cheers. Okay.
We'll taste it out. Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't love Bloody Marys.
Which is
in general
obscene.
It's tomato juice. It kind of freaks me out.
I don't like tomato juice.
Yeah. But the spicier the better, in my opinion. The spicier, the more palatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The spicy is good. But yeah, we're gonna rank it, rate it. You had some.
Categories for rating. Yeah. Okay. So, well, firstly, as a base, we're always gonna use Tito's.
Yes.
As a base.
Right.
So
it's important to
2 shots of vodka.
2 shots of vodka.
And then
Tiffany's favorite internet video.
Yes, it's so funny. And then we're always gonna do little baby dill pickles, right? That's what we're doing. And then garlic olives.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty much the same.
Same garnish, same vodka, different mix. Oh, it's
this is Tiffany's
okay.
favorite.
Yes, here we are. Okay, I got it. Yes. Fork 'em. We should make this drink on stream.
This is hilarious. Okay, then get the kiwi.
Yeah, it looks gross. Ew.
2 shots of vodka. Check this out.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's the basis of the 2 shots of vodka.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So it's gonna be strong.
Yes. Okay,
yeah.
so
What are the parameters again?
okay, parameters are spice, flavor, glug glug glug. Yes, spice, flavor, uniqueness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, mouthfeel, like texture, mouthfeel, and then overall, like just good vibes. How we feel about it. Were those the 5?
You were the one making them.
I think those were the 5.
So yeah, we'll check that out. Okay, so we've got
Oh yes, good. I like this.
It's okay. So Trace Agaves, there's no way anybody can read that. We'll fix that for next time. I'll do it on my screen.
Okay, well,
but
we'll just talk about it.
Yes. Yeah,
Trace Agaves.
Trace Agaves.
Oh no, one of them was ingredients.
Oh yeah,
like
spice, quality of ingredients.
Yes. Flavor, general flavor, like depth of flavor.
Depth.
If it's just tastes like tomato juice, then
which is gross. I don't even like tomato juice.
No.
Which is wild.
I wonder. We should not. I was gonna say we should just have like a very classic.
Just like a can of tomato juice.
Yeah. Ew. No. Gross. Okay, never mind.
So, and we're not even drunk yet. Okay, so we have spice, quality of ingredients, depth.
No, that one's just flavor.
Oh, that's flavor.
Yeah.
Flavor.
Depth is a.
It's a subcategory
yes,
of flavor.
Yes, of flavor. Thank you. And then, mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel.
Texture.
There should be one more.
Uniqueness. Do you have uniqueness?
Yeah, uniqueness.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so that's how we're gonna rate this one.
So this is like flagship, the first Bloody Mary. So it's kind of hard to like compare it to other Bloody Marys. So
but it's really good.
It's pretty good. Trace Agaves, well done.
So
it's organic. So all real ingredients in here.
Yeah. So let's start with spice.
Okay.
What do you give it on a scale of 1 to 10 for spice?
Well, what is 10? 10 is like...
Is the best level of spice for you personally.
Oh. Rather than like really spicy.
So if something is like...
overly spicy, then it's not a 10.
Score.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If you guys like Bloody Mary ASMR, you've tuned into the right stream.
Oh, God. It's a good level of spice for me. I think it could be a little bit spicier.
Yeah, it's spicy.
It's like, it has spice. I would call it an 8? 8 out of 10?
Okay.
How do you feel about it?
Strong.
I feel good about it.
Yeah, I feel good about it. I think it's a 7.
A 7.
Yeah, I think it could be a bit spicier.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I would.
You think that's 3 points?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay.
I mean, a 7's pretty good.
That's true. That is true. Okay.
Quality of ingredients. That's, I think that's kind of a. That's not necessarily one we have to
really
rate differently.
Yeah.
But I think for this one.
Okay, so we have. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Be the host.
Here we are.
Welcome to the travel agency hosted by Tiffany Green.
Thank you. Okay, water, organic tomato paste, organic lemon juice concentrate. It's probably all right still.
Probably
salt.
Good.
How much sodium do we have in here? Ooh. Okay, we have 4 fluid ounces. Has 740 milligrams of sodium.
That's quite a bit.
That seems like a lot. Okay. Agave. Spices, praise the Lord, vinegar, onion powder, and garlic powder.
Yeah, I think those
all organic. I stopped saying organic because I was reading it every
I think
other
those
word.
ingredients are a 10 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 because of the sodium. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
Great.
it's like that for all of them.
Well, we have
know.
nothing to compare it to.
That's true.
Yes.
But
okay.
That seems like a lot of. That's like soy sauce sodium levels.
Yeah, but that's like a tablespoon of soy sauce.
That's true. Okay.
Okay, flavor.
Flavor.
What you got? I mean, this is really good. This is a really good one. We're going downhill from here, for sure.
I hope not.
We are. The one we have for next week is going to be bad compared to this one.
Hot and spicy, though. It's going to be hot.
It's true. Okay. Your flavor.
Flavor. I still wish it were not tomatoey.
You can't say that.
I feel good about the flavor. I don't know. What do you go first on this one?
You're going first.
You go first.
You're the guest.
I don't want to.
Ladies first.
Come on.
Yeah, I think the flavor is an 8. I think this is really good.
Yeah.
This is a high quality.
Yeah. Are we ever gonna like add little mix-ins, like I don't know,
No.
sriracha
Not yet.
or okay? I think it's good. I'm gonna follow suit and give it an 8.
Okay, 2 8s.
2 8s.
The mouthfeel.
It's pretty thick and I like it, but
Okay.
it's not like pulpy. 10 out of 10.
Wow.
I know.
I think there's something left to be desired. I'm gonna give it a 9.
What could be desired?
I'm not.
Come on, you gotta tell me.
I'm not convinced that that's the best mouthfeel I'll ever have from a Bloody Mary.
Okay.
Uniqueness. It's not very unique.
No.
It's very classic,
It doesn't have any like clams or anything in it though.
which is good.
Weird.
A lot of them have clams in
Yeah,
them.
we're vegan these days,
So,
so no clammy.
my hair is sticking up.
Your hair sticks up a lot. It's good.
Uniqueness.
It's weird because I feel like this is the one that we're going to compare everything else to.
Yeah,
So I give it a 6.
6. Yeah, I was thinking a 6. Okay, let's tally up its score here.
I think we should buy straws for our Bloody Marys.
Yeah, that's true.
So we got to mix it up. It's kind of separating. Did you notice that? The ice is melting.
Yeah. Okay, so Tiffany, your score for this Bloody Mary is an 8.2.
Hell yeah. It's a good one. Pickle?
And I scored it a solid 8.
Wow.
So, now we know. Okay, so now this comes to the next part of the stream where we get increasingly drunk as time goes on.
Hurrah.
Hello.
Wendy.
Welcome. Welcome to the stream.
Hurrah. Wendy, you're just joining us. We're drinking Bloody Marys. The first in a long line of Sunday brunches where we try different Bloody Mary mixes.
Yeah, this is like it's going to be a revolving skit.
Yes.
This show's going to have more like bits as time goes on.
Little skits and
skits.
sillies and
Different interesting stuff.
yeah.
The Bloody Mary is kind of the main one. All right, cool. So, I guess it's time now to...
Drinking a whole Bloody Mary feels like a lot to me.
It is a lot. It is a lot. I am already feeling the 2 shots of vodka. But yes, so let's see. We wanted to talk about...
Yes. Come over, have a Bloody Mary. Pour a Bloody Mary for yourself at home. Just plan for it every Sunday from now on.
It's true. Yeah. BYOB.
Yeah.
Bring your own bloodies.
Yes.
We're going to have a lot of extra bloody mix over time, too,
Yeah,
which
like,
is kind
what
of
are
a
we gonna do with
scary
that?
and disgusting future that we're going to be living in. Because that was like not even half. Not even
And what
half.
can you do with... Who drinks Bloody Marys at dinner time? Anyone?
I only drink them at brunch or
Right.
breakfast.
Right.
But we're not just like drinking Bloody Marys for breakfast
On the reg.
on the reg.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Anyway.
Thank you all for tuning in. This is the Travel Agency. We are a multimedia, multi-artist Twitch streaming platform. The Travel Agency, we have different shows that we put on throughout the week, and the Travel Agency is growing. So we are focused on sharing looks into artist studios, providing an opportunity for artists to share their process and performance-based artwork. We also have this show here where we interview different guests, where I interview different guests. Tiffany may not be here every time.
Sad.
Where I interview different guests and talk to them about their art experiences or their work in the art world. We have brunches, stuff like that. So it's like a very casual art conversation. Here in a little bit, we're going to go through some contemporary performance art and just talk about how the Travel Agency works inside of the framework of some performance art that has already taken place, something that we're really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Tiffany so the Travel Agency, a little bit about it for those of you just meeting us. I mean, this is our first time really talking about the newest iteration of the Travel Agency. The Travel Agency is in the process of becoming a nonprofit arts organization. We are focusing on providing tools, education, and opportunities to different artists around the country to produce live streams in their own studios and to give them an opportunity to be able to share in a public setting their performance art. So the performance art might be process-based.
If you don't got no sauce, then you're lost. Mm-hmm. But you can also get lost in the sauce.
That was so loud.
Follow.
Wow, Wendy Signs, thanks for following. Appreciate it. I don't know why it's so loud. Hopefully that didn't ruin all your guys' audio. But yes, so...
Love the follow, though. Thank you.
Yes, I do appreciate the follow.
Hurrah.
What
the heck was that? What was that?
That was a Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane deal. Yeah, let me turn that down. But yeah, so actually, Tiffany, while I'm doing that, why don't you talk about what the Travel Agency is?
So we kind of already talked about, like, the struggle within the art world for people who are interested in art but aren't, like, as engaged or haven't felt comfortable to be as engaged. So we want the Travel Agency to be a platform for allowing people who are, like, interested in art but aren't, like, following as prominently, who want to be following more prominently,
you're lost. Mm-hmm. But you can also get lost
be
in
able
the
to
sauce.
engage in the contemporary art.
To repeat what you said,
You hit the Gucci Mane thing.
The Gucci Mane thing again.
Okay. Gucci Mane.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry, everyone.
We want it to be a platform for people to be able to take part in the conversation about art. Contemporary art specifically. Then we want to build up a digital residency. So maybe we should talk about the residency a little bit. You're in the throes.
I fixed it.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
I fixed it. So
Okay,
we're back.
good.
So Gucci Mane isn't going to blow our ears apart next time somebody follows us. Definitely follow us. Following really helps. And you hit the bell. You'll get notifications when we go live. That's really helpful because when we're working with other artists, they may go live at different times. Sometimes we'll do site-specific installations that just happen kind of in the moment. So definitely give us a follow. We will really appreciate it. Yeah, so coming from what you were saying, it's providing this opportunity for artists to get in touch with these streaming practices. We're educating artists on how to do that. And we're raising money so we can purchase equipment for what we're calling our residency for people who are looking to add live streaming or adding video into a big part of their creative practice but don't know where to start. So in the next couple of months after we get the nonprofit established, we're going to be compiling like a list of resources and different materials, different cameras, audio equipment, stuff like that, that artists can apply to receive as a part of a term for the residency, and then they will produce shows for the travel agency that'll all be right here on this channel at different times. So that's what we're doing there.
That's the residency.
Yeah.
Hurrah. So then, as we have residents come on, we get to hear their voice, see their art, take part in the process of them creating work. The more that comes about, the more we have continued conversations about what art is. It's hopefully just going to keep rising the conversation about contemporary art, interconnected and all here on this stream.
Yeah, and thanks, Wendy. Yeah, I think that it'd be really fun to talk about, to have you on and talk about my time as a child, as a young lad, because things have changed a lot over time, and you were there for all of it. So yeah, that is the plan. So Tiffany, tell us a little bit about what you'll be doing for the travel agency.
Yeah. So I think in the immediate term, I feel a sneeze coming. In the immediate term, I'm going to be helping create the business plan for the travel agency and trying to just kind of formalize a lot of the structures for what we're doing, who we're talking to, how we're going to market the travel agency, and then applying for funding. So filling out grants applications, looking for those, trying to be creative with the ways that we can access money so that we can buy equipment for artists to receive. So yeah, that's kind of the immediate term, and then after that, it's going to kind of just depend. There's like the initial part is like setting up the travel agency and getting our 501c3 status, and then from there, creating the residency and starting that residency program. Mm-hmm. So, but you're going to be more involved in the residency than I will. How are you?
I'll definitely be a lot more involved in the residency. So my role with the travel agency is I am going to be the executor of the nonprofit. So I'll be often kind of engaged in the throes of acquiring equipment, setting up live streams for local artists in the interim prior to the launch of the residency. I will be leading the residency once we establish that, because I have lived a million lifetimes in these technologies, and that's actually like the hardest part, is knowing the right technology, knowing how to create the settings, knowing how to stream to the computer, knowing how to do all of that, and then in addition to that, kind of like marketing it and just being there, engaged in it for myself as well, because I think this type of platform, being in touch with the public as an artist, is really important, and letting people into your studio who otherwise wouldn't come into the studio is going to be really good. So I'll just be kind of the catch-all of organizing programming and consulting with artists, helping them understand what's going to work in this format, because a lot of stuff doesn't work well in this format. There's only so many things that this can lend itself to as far as like art making practices, which is really, really broad, but it's not everything is going to translate well to a live stream type of thing. Mm-hmm. So figuring that out for myself and then figuring that out for other people is going to be a big part of what I do. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So Rick has been streaming for how long? Like it started about a year ago.
Yeah,
maybe a year and a couple of months.
Yeah. So, like, Rick's been streaming just his art making practice. He's streamed a couple of performance art pieces. And so it's really interesting to, like, there's so much about the artist that you don't know just by seeing their work. Like displayed in an art gallery or in a museum somewhere, like you don't know who they are and what their personality is like what informed their decisions to make certain things. And so I think it's really interesting, and what we want to create as a part of the travel agency is a way for the public to engage in the process of art making rather than just seeing the final product. So yeah, that's a big piece of it. And there's like almost like this, I don't know, we've had conversations about like how the art making practice is almost like this, I don't know, like elusive, what is the term that you use for it? The art making practice being like kind of this hidden practice that like you...
Oh yeah, yeah. So, a lot of value is created in contemporary art by creating these like proprietary studio practices, and not allowing the public into the studio, because artists are constantly engaged in this worry that their work is going to be stolen, or their work is going to be...
if you see how easy it's created or how hard it's created, it
changes the value.
Yeah.
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 So I think that actually having a glimpse into the artist's practice and having a glimpse into the artist's studio creates more value than hiding it, or than creating these like proprietary types of art making practices. So it's important for me to share my creative practice, and I'm not really worried about people stealing it. I mean, a lot of the time, the way that I make my work, it evolves over time, and I'm creating surfaces that, you know, are like impossible for other people to make, but not because they don't know how it functions. So they can know how it functions, but are they actually going to take the time to spend their time and their resources in making this type of work? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. So I'm not like particularly worried about having some sort of like proprietary way that I make my paintings that's produces an image plane that no one else can reproduce. So opening the studio up to the public, I think, is really important, and something that I would love to see, just as an onlooker, of you know, some of my favorite artists, what actually takes place in their studio and what they're thinking about when they're creating certain types of work. So we want to provide an opportunity for contemporary artists to create that and to share that with the public to the degree that they feel comfortable, while encouraging them to share more and more and more about the practice.
So a couple years ago, we were in this museum, and it was a Jackson Pollock show. And they had a video of Jackson Pollock creating one of his pieces. And we should just watch that video.
Yeah, we can pull it up.
Because, like, he kind of has this, like, I don't want to have people involved in the process mentality. I mean, he's a famous painter. But yeah, this is that video. Ooh, it's loud.
It's not loud on the viewer side.
My home is in Springs, East Hampton, Long Island. I was born in Cody, Wyoming, 39 years ago.
It's just a drunk guy walking around. That's all Jackson Pollock is.
He is really drunk all the time.
get the paint on his
In
shoes.
New York, I spent 2 years at the Art Students League with Tom Benton. He was a strong personality to react against. This was in 1929. I don't work from drawings or
Was
color
Jackson
sketches.
Pollock part of the Jackson 5?
My painting is direct.
Yes.
I usually
Definitively.
paint on the floor. I enjoy working on a large canvas. I feel more at home, more at ease in a big area.
These canvases were actually
Having the
part
canvas on the
of
floor, I feel nearer, more
the confusion that Michael felt about
this way I can
his,
walk around it.
you know, his
work
blackness
from
and his
all four
whiteness.
sides and be in the painting,
It's a bad joke.
similar to the Indian sand painters of the West.
No, I think that that's a
Sometimes I
misnomer.
use a brush, but often
that-
prefer using a stick.
People talk about like Michael Jackson wanting to be white, but I don't think that's real.
I like to use a dripping fluid paint.
Jackson Pollock is actually the father of the Jackson 5.
I also use sand.
He's their dad.
glass, pebbles, string, nails, or other foreign matter. A method of painting is the natural growth out of a need. I want to express my feelings rather than illustrate them. Technique is just a means of arriving at a statement.
So yeah, this is kind of, you know, these videos are so rare from old artists, and these videos continue to be rare
When I am
in
painting,
contemporary
I have a
artwork.
general notion as to what I am about.
But this is like one of the things that we're interested in shooting for the travel agency.
I can control the flow of the paint. There is no accident, just as there is no beginning and no end. Sometimes I lose a painting. But I have no fear of changes, of destroying the image. Because a painting has a life of its own, I try to let it live.
Like such a late 20s track
Oh,
to
yeah.
put on a video.
Yeah, some kind of, I forget what that guy's name is, but there's like a modernist composer that this is probably him. So yeah, I think what you were saying is that Jackson Pollock, where's my cursor? Pollock was one of your favorites you learned of at university. Yeah, Pollock is like kind of a divisive figure in a lot of contemporary art talk. I mean, he was like a real shithead of a person. He was a drunk, and he was not very kind to his. Excuse me, the Bloody Mary. Not very kind to his family, and not very kind to fellow artists. But there's a part in this video, I'm not sure if it's in this one or not, that Tiffany was mentioning, is that like during the taping of this video, Pollock was really, really upset about
Like, super apprehensive.
about having this process shown, because it looks so, I think to him, he felt like, you know, he felt that imposter syndrome kind of vibe, where he felt that, you know, if you show people the way that these paintings are made, that it's going to reduce their value. But that
It's
wasn't
not
the
the case. Yeah.
I mean, his paintings sell for $100 million at auctions these days. So yeah, it's not the case. And we believe that that's not the case.
Yeah, but like, how much more connected did I feel to Pollock's work, or I guess I could say that I felt way more connected to Pollock's work after seeing him in that video talking about his practice, you know, than I had felt about him previously.
Yeah, we had this really great opportunity to go to a New York school show in, was it Rome?
Yeah.
We were in Rome, and they had a New York school show. The New York school is the American painters who were well known for abstract expressionism, Jackson Pollock being the most well known from that school. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about performance art as well.
Cool.
What do we have here? What's next? Oh yeah, this one's great.
Warhol.
This is what the travel agency is. This is what the brunch show is.
In a nutshell.
So this is Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol is a very famous and highly regarded pop artist. A lot of times he's you can't get the ketchup out of the bottle. It's a very American thing.
He didn't even put the ketchup on there.
But he was a marketing professional prior to becoming a fine artist. So he worked with a lot of ad agencies and stuff like that, and he liked marketing and public culture, pop culture, and brought a lot of those things into the forefront. So this is one of his video pieces. He did a lot of video work. Some of it was really extreme. I think he showed a video of two men having sex at some show. And this was, in the 80s, so that was like at the height of AIDS.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of discrimination for like homosexual people. That was one of his video pieces that got a lot of traction. This one is him eating a hamburger. I think that at the Super Bowl, last year's Super Bowl, there was a reference to this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it was like a Burger King ad, and it was like this video or an ad of him like eating a hamburger.
It's like, oh, that's too much bread.
Too much bread. It's a very American experience. It has America written all over it. Which might be something that you don't recognize. Like, it might just look like a guy eating a hamburger. But, like, Andy Warhol in context of being an artist, being an American artist, and using Heinz ketchup and eating a fast food hamburger, and the way that he eats it, like, it's not just obvious. Like, it seems so obvious, but it's not only obvious.
No fries. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was enough.
Like, all of those things are choices. I don't know what this part is, but I guess he's digesting the burger.
It's just so uncomfortable to sit with him for that long. I want to. It's amazing how quickly you can eat a hamburger. Like, this whole video is 4 minutes.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Andy Warhol, and I just finished eating a hamburger. New York.
So there you go. Yeah.
When was that?
I'm not sure.
67.
No, that's a different video.
Oh.
My computer's struggling a little bit here.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot going on.
1982.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay, my computer's back. Sometimes it gets a little bit delayed when we share some videos, but it comes right back. So yeah, 1982. That is kind of it's a strange video. I did like what you said about like how quick he ate the hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think of myself as eating a hamburger in
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yeah. Which he didn't eat all of it. He like threw out the half of the bread and then, a quarter
Kinda smushed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then just how strange it is to sit with him after that for 1 minute.
It's kind of weird that
Yeah.
to like hang out with somebody who's eating and you're not eating.
Yeah.
Or like who's drinking
Is that
a
how
Bloody
you
Mary.
guys feel about us right now, drinking Bloody Marys?
Maybe that'll be one of our performance pieces. Rick drinks a Bloody Mary 2020.
Yeah.
No,
St.
but
Louis.
it's so interesting to me, and we see this a lot in contemporary new media of like people being interested in just watching other people doing things. And Warhol he was like way, 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 way ahead of his time, obviously. And the value of watching him just go about his day doing something normal. And then it talks about like normality and like what is normality, and being able to share this performance piece, like moving it from normality into art or into performance, comes from the advent of the camera, like comes from the addition of the camera into the setting.
Mm-hmm.
So is it performance art if he eats a hamburger alone in a room? Potentially, but it doesn't matter because nobody's going to see it and it's not going to have an impact. Having him sit at a table and eat a Burger King, it is a Burger King. Having him eat a Burger King hamburger,
Yeah.
specifically Burger King, specifically Heinz ketchup, specifically in 1982, at a time where he is like a highly regarded, what then would be contemporary artist, highly regarded artist, having him just sit down and you introduce the video camera, and the video camera takes it from something that's normal and something that's happenstance to something of record and something about performance, about the moment, because our bags don't look like that now. Heinz ketchup still does, right? So like, what does that mean?
Yeah, timeless.
The way he crumples up the bag and like...
Do you do that?
Yeah. Do I do that personally?
Yeah.
I crumple up the bags.
I don't crumple the bag.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just throwing the bag straight in the trash.
Do you crumple the paper?
Yes.
Right. Turn the paper into a little ball.
Yeah. Crumple the paper. I might like fold the bag at the top. But it's kind of a waste of space in the trash, truly.
If you crumple it?
If you don't crumple it.
I don't know if it's much better if you crumple it. But all of those things are choices, and all of those things come from different places. And the addition of the camera allows that value to be seen or to be felt. So when we talk about performance art as something that like people say they don't get or that they don't understand, this performance piece, like you do get it, you do understand it. That is an experience that you've had, and you're constantly like comparing your experience and comparing your choices to the choices that he's making. Maybe your bag is a McDonald's bag or a Wendy's bag or or an In-N-Out bag. All of these little things in such a distilled space become markers for understanding the performance. Yep, I'm glad I had the camera on you when you did that.
Good. Olive.
So, So part of this is that like you don't need to bring anything with you to the performance. We didn't need to bring everything that we needed to bring with us to sit with that video of Warhol. We already had as a part of us, and I think that at its best, contemporary art just allows you to bring what you already have with you to view the work. You don't have to acquire anything before you enter into a space of viewing the work.
Yeah.
So we can look at, I don't remember what this video is, but it was another performance art video that I thought was valuable for some reason at some point in the past. This is Yoko Ono. This is 1967.
Yoko Ono doesn't do happenings, and she never has done happenings, as a matter of fact. She does do an art form called event. The idea of an event is that it's a very personalized art form for the individual, and it is not an art form that is an object to be put on display. It is an art form that involves each person individually for his experience, and he should personally and physically take part in the event, whatever it is.
Anyone who is interested could come up on the stage and try to fly off from these ladders.
Oh. That dude.
Yeah.
So before we get too far in that, I think that, all of that stuff, again, speaks to the addition of the camera, speaks to like things that you already have with you, experiences that you already have. You can climb the ladder and jump off, see if you can fly.
I'm not climbing the ladder.
Yeah, right. And people will make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently some people make the choice to do that.
Yeah, break a leg.
That dude got bodied.
Yeah.
Or her like breaking an object.
Yeah.
And then this is like, it looks like two people, maybe two random people or Yoko and somebody else go under this like black cloak together.
It's so interesting that they're on a stage. Oh, there's like a whole audience.
All the people in the bags, sit down on the stage, please.
Well, that's creepy.
Yeah.
I want to remind you that the ad red painting is still continuing.
All right, that's enough.
It's like, whoa, look at that.
Yeah.
Yikes. I wonder what was happening.
I don't know.
It's just like a performative,
Painting.
yeah,
Yeah.
collective painting,
So
participatory.
moving from there, we can talk a little bit about Marina Abramovic, who is the mother or grandmother of performance
She's
art.
amazing.
She's really great. Some of the most clear and cogent, cohesive performance art performing performances.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So this is
One of my most extreme pieces was when I really pushed my body to the limits, because I didn't ever want to die. I'm not interested in dying, but I'm interested how far you can push the energy of the human body, how far you can go, and then see that actually our energy is almost limitless. It's not about the body, it's about mind pushing to the extremes that we never could imagine. Some of the work that really got lots of attention from the public was Rhythm Zero. Till that time, the artist of performance art was totally ridiculed, and they think that was sick, and it was exhibitionist, and it was masochist, and they just want attention. So I was just really tired of this kind of critics, and I said, okay, I'm going to make the piece to see how far public can go if the artist himself doesn't do anything. And there, very simply, I put on the table 72 objects with the instructions: I'm an object, you can do whatever you want to do with me, and I will take all responsibility for 6 hours.
6 hours.
On the table was a rose, perfume, piece of bread, and grapes, and wine, and then was objects like really scissors and nails and metal bar, and finally was also a pistol with one bullet. So basically the audience wanted to put a bullet into a pistol and kill me. And I really want to take this risk. I want to know what is the public about and what they're going to do in this kind of situation. It was really difficult piece because I just stood there in the front of the table, and in the beginning nothing really happened. Public would come, they would play with me, they would give me a rose, they would kiss me, look at me, and then public became more and more wild. They cut my neck and drink my blood. They carry me around, put me on the table, open my legs and put a knife between. The one person took the pistol, put the bullet, and see if I would really with my own hand push the target. The galleries came and could really go crazy, take this gun out of his hand, throw out of the window. They took scissors, they cut my clothes, they put rose pins into my body. After 6 hours, which was like at 2 in the morning, the galleries come and say the performance is over. I start moving. I start being myself because I was there like a puppet just for them. And that moment, everybody ran away. People could not actually confront with me as a person. I remember going back to the hotel, looking in the mirror, and I found a big piece of white hair.
So yeah, that's kind of I think that's the extreme side of her work, and that's what got a lot of people interested in her work, and people talk about that a lot now.
Mm-hmm.
And then, thinking about in the contemporary sense, like if that was being live streamed, adding the additional element of the lack of anonymity. Because back then, if you were in that gallery, nobody except those people who were in that gallery knew who you were. But then if we're working on performance art in a public space, in the most public sphere, totally accessible, then how does that change the way people interact in the performance? Or how does that change what actually takes place?
Yeah, like if that person had shot her and killed her, like they'd have been arrested. Like there's still like I don't know, there's still like you have to take responsibility for that. Like if you choose to do that, then you still go to jail. Like whether she says she offers it to you or not. So then like when the audience has anonymity within the internet, there's also that like added element. I mean, you're not in the space to kill someone, but it's a different vibe.
Yeah, for sure. Here is a very contemporary look at some performance art.
Hi, I'm Amanda Hunt, Director of Education and Senior Curator of Programs at MoCA. Zhuzhen's In Just a Blink of an Eye is a work that is comprised of 4 postures or poses that exist in the gallery as sculpture. The idea is that these bodies are kind of frozen, arrested in a way that feels unnatural or impossible. Zhuzhen is
Those are real
a
people.
Shanghai-born and based artist. In Just a Blink of an Eye was a work made in 2005. This is the first time it will be shown in California, and it's the first time that this work will be
I
shown
love seeing
in
them
its
blink.
totality of 4 poses ever. It actually marks the second performance work in all of MoCA's permanent collection holdings, which is over 70,000 objects, prints, drawings, sculptures. So this is a really exciting chapter for us. I think it marks a new shift for us in terms of what we present in our galleries to the public, how you can engage works of art, and how a living person can act as a sculptural thing and cared for in the same way that the rest of our collection is.
How are they like that?
I think it has something to do with there's some sort of like exoskeleton
Oh.
situation. So they're like it comes from this like street performance space. So I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of like the street performing robots.
I don't think so. Are you yelling?
Yeah. I don't know how to spell.
You missed the M. There you go.
So it comes from this kind of
Oh,
technique.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, so interesting. Have you been around anyone who's done that? Like around you? Directly around you?
No.
It's wild.
You've seen this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like there's some sort of metal skeleton in here that they can use to do their bits.
Oh my. I've never seen him do that before. Yeah, you see him like shaking though. Like there's a lot of like core energy.
Oh, it definitely takes effort.
Yeah.
But I think they have some sort of mechanical advantage that he's using. Like there's like some sort
Yeah,
of
like an arm
pivot
or something. Yeah.
here, and he
Oh.
can shift his weight around that axis.
Huh.
So I think that's how the I think that's how that works.
That's wild. It's like mesmerizing though.
Yeah. You know, I think inside of that performative work that we were just looking at, that there is, you know, there is an interesting connection to like street art or street performers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
These bodies are frozen, arrested in a way that
So
impossible.
How long do you think they were on display like that?
I think they may have changed people in and out. I'm not sure of the details.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But there were people in those. So the postures are what is collected.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume that, you know, there's a certain training that these people go through.
Yeah.
And they collect the postures. think that there was there's a photo of Billie Eilish actually sat in one of the postures
Oh,
for
really?
a period of time,
Oh, wow.
but I can't find it right now.
Shanghai
So,
Baby.
That was just last year.
yeah.
Not even a year ago. Wow.
And then there was some other contemporary. I mean, this is like the one that a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
people are in touch with.
Yes.
So this was a part of a MFA show.
Oh,
So
really?
so there were some MFA students. I forget where they were attending, but they asked Shia LaBeouf to be a part of their performance. So this was part of their final show for their MFA
Yeah.
project.
I see a man on a motorbike, I think it's my dad.
I don't think I've ever seen the full. I've only just seen the clip.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's long.
Everyone's eyes and faces look the same.
It's like 45 minutes,
really?
30 minutes. Yeah.
Although soon I realize it's not. I remember used to paint pictures of naked women in fashion. I started gagging. My eyes leave, and I still look at her. She looks at me, and I keep brushing, gagging. I feel like I'm gonna be sick. Am I gonna be sick? Gag. Paste down my face, my hair, on my shirt, dripping. And I still look at her, and she looks at me. Nothing.
Is this ear stretched?
The sculptor,
I don't know.
the painter, video maker, the figure of the artist has been as fetishized in Western culture as probably the actor. Bronco Messiah himself. Michael Peters Tate
If
shots.
somebody would give me a link. Yes, here it is.
Do it! Just do it!
So yeah, that's a part of a larger piece, but like a really really good example of performance art in contemporary culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one more for you.
Okay, let's see it.
You took your headphone out.
Oh. Yeah.
This is what I think is a really good example of contemporary performance art.
Aww.
Guess you know that I really love music. In fact, it's been very, very important to me since I was very little. My mom and dad didn't like me to bang when I was angry. But I found that if I played the piano when I was angry, they didn't mind that. So that's what I did. I'd play like that. And then little by little I'd see that the music would be sounding less and less angry. So it seemed that the more I played, the more anger got out of me. And I felt better about everything. That's one reason I wrote that song, Good Feeling, because it does give you a good feeling to know that there's something that you can do to help you become the master of the mad that you feel and not have to hurt yourself or anybody else. I hope that you're finding your ways of saying how you feel, ways that don't hurt you or anybody else. Really help people to have very good feelings.
So, the reason I share that is the act of performance, the act of creating, the act of being engaged with yourself as you're moving through the act of creation is actually a method of changing your space or changing your state or recognizing where you're at and realizing that it's different in some way from how you want to be feeling. For Mr. Rogers, as the child that he was describing, there was only so much time he could bang on the piano before he realized that that's not who he was, or that's not how he wanted to be spending his time. And the very nature of making something, I think, helps individuals get closer to this sense of self that they want to be experiencing. And that's something that we can do with the travel agency and with highlighting our processes for people to see, is that over time, the things that you talk about as you're making something change, and the mindset that you're in changes, and being able to share with other people that, like, we are vast and varied individuals moving through a myriad of feelings, and reducing the illusion that people who make good art are one thing or another. That you have to be this, like, angsty, revolutionary, counterculturalist making, you know, violent paintings in an Afghanistan cave. It's like, sometimes we think of these people as like these hermits who are making these beautiful works of art out of a sense of, like, torture, right? Or on the other side of things, that, like, beautiful painters, people who are painting beautifully, are always feeling well, or are always in the right set of mind, you know, that there is no variance in what they're doing, that you can't make beautiful paintings because you don't always think beautiful thoughts. But I think that the reality of the situation when it comes to creation, or when it comes to performance, is that we move through different sets of emotion, and the act of creation and the act of presence actually helps us find the internal sense, the internal state of welfare that we are looking for. Well, it's about 12 o'clock here, so we'll leave you with that thought. Thank you for tuning in so far. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back at about 12:10. Thank you for tuning in. You're watching The Travel Agency. If you haven't followed already, please give us a follow on Twitch. It really helps out. We're growing the platform here. And if you set the notifications, then you'll know when we're streaming. Anytime we're streaming, a lot of the stuff is scheduled, but we have some spontaneous art events that take place throughout time. And yeah, if you're interested in leaving us a voicemail, give us a call. The number's on the screen, 1-801-TRAVEL-6. Listen through the rings and leave us a voicemail, and we'll check some of those at the end of our show. So we will be back. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in about 10 or 15 minutes. All right, we are back.
We're back.
Welcome back to the Travel Agency. Thanks for sticking around. If you've been enjoying the show today, please follow us so you can be notified of when we stream in the future. On Thursday nights, late night, I do a show called the
Friday nights.
Friday night, sorry.
Yeah, Friday
nights I do the Friday night art grind where I just kind of hang out and work through different repetitive art making practices that I'm interested in. Feel free to send us a whisper or follow us on Instagram at thetravelagency.live to inquire. We're looking for other visual artists to have on the stream. Something that's open to people who are painting or who are doing various things. So feel free to hop up over there, follow us over there. So yeah, I guess we're probably
This has been fun.
gonna wrap up.
Yeah.
We appreciate y'all coming, and we will be talking about what it is more in the future.
Next week, we'll have a different Bloody Mary.
Yes.
Different guest.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably
see how
won't
that
be
works.
here. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah. So thanks again for tuning in, and yeah, we will talk to you later.
Bye.